Hello, you lot. Hope you're all doing fantastically well. It's Connor here. We are back with another live stream. We're reacting to Daniel's press conference, and we're going to be discussing a few bits on the channel as well. Please make sure you're liking and subscribing to the content. Make sure you're sharing it with all your family and friends as well, all your Leeds supporting people that you know in the community. Really appreciate that one. And we're back here. If you haven't checked out the videos yesterday, make sure you do so. We've got two podcasts that are going live today on the Patreon as well. Make sure you check those out. One with me and Gabe, one with me and the old boy. So make sure you check out all those. Can see Gordon in the chat. Can see John as well. Hey Lofts. Hey Jay. Brandon's in the building as well. Hello guys. A bit of an impromptu one from me, but I know you like your videos per day. And old Daniel has just been speaking to the gang at the press conference as well. So we'll make sure we analyze all that sort of stuff for you guys. But please make sure you're getting your comments in. We'll start with the big news that. We'll get into that in a little bit, Rob. Don't you worry, mate. Leeds fan, shout out to you, man. I don't know what time it is there. Jammy's in the building. Willie's here as well, watching from the US of A. Thanks, Connor. I saw you all on the press conference stream as well. If you want me to do these a little bit more regular, I will do. I know people like the mixing up of the videos as well, so I'll make sure I'm doing pre-recorded ones as well. But yeah, let's get into the main news anyway. Pat Bamford looks like he's going to be out for this one. It also looks like Pat Bamford's going to be out for the Leicester game. Oh, dear me, it's a bit of a blow, that one, isn't it? With ongoing form at this moment in time, I think. Yeah, that's a little bit. I didn't expect that one. I thought he'd be back maybe for this one. It seemed like a little bit of a niggle at the start, but this is something that we all can't refrain from as Leeds fans. We all know what Pat Bamford's injury record's like, and unfortunately, it's not notoriously very good, is it? We've had a good spell of it right now, but when we've been speaking about Junior Firpo, when we've been speaking about Sam Byram, who we'll get onto in just a little bit, what do we know from those two in particular? It is that they do pick up injuries, patterns, trends, and all that sort of stuff is unfortunately the way their careers have gone. Pat Bamford's had a little bit more of an injury-free campaign, an injury-free career than the likes of Sam Byram and co, but yeah, unfortunately, he's going to be out for this one. And it's interesting when you're looking at that that Leicester game in particular, because that is going to be, it's a huge game in our season, you know, an absolute huge game in our season. I was looking at Ipswich's fixtures not long ago, and Ipswich have some really good fixtures. I think I would say that Southampton have the harder fixtures. Ipswich have some really good fixtures, and Leeds are sort of in the middle at this moment in time. Obviously, that those tough fixtures start this evening tonight when West Bromwich Albion host Southampton. But we need all of our players back really for this one, in my opinion. So it's going to have to be a your Perot. Listen, and there's a lot of motivation for Perot, in my opinion. A lot of your motivation for him to put his stamp down on this number 9 position. We saw Dan James out injured. What's Willie Gnonto done? He's come in and been absolutely brilliant. We also know that, you know, when players have gone out of this side, others have come in and done a remarkable job. So now it is all on Joel Perot to give us something going forward and get his position back. This guy's been booted out of the squad by someone at the start of the season who none of us really favoured, none of us wanted in this side, but because of the system, listen, that Bamford's been in and he hasn't. And this isn't Bamford. Bamford's not been coming in and scoring. He's done okay, but evidently Daniel Farke believes we look better strategic, sort of framework wise, with Pat Bamford in there. So it's up to Joel Perot now to adapt a little bit. It's up to Joel Perot to put in performances where Daniel Farke just goes, well, I can't take you out of this. I can't take you out of this. So interesting to hear that when it comes to Bamford. But it looks like now he is going to be out for this Leicester game, which might mean Leeds have to adjust a little bit. Hi, Connor. Hi, Annabelle. Hope you're all good. Tom Wilson says, hi, Connor. Opinions on 49ers sacking and how this influences Leeds and Farke. What do you mean on that, mate? I'm not 100% sure what you mean. Amanda's in the building. Hi, Amanda. Really thought Bamford could impact the Leicester game. Disappointed, but Perot will have to prove himself. And I completely agree. It's all on him now. And listen, the motivation's there for him. You know, against a Plymouth and against a Leicester, what you're expecting is Leeds to be under pressure at points, you know, even against Plymouth, be under pressure at points, and you resolve that by bypassing a press a little bit, you know, getting rid of that ball early and hold the striker holding the ball up. Now, does this mean now that Jorginho Rutter is going to push forward a little bit more? Now, this was the whole issue at the start of the season, wasn't it, when it came to the balance between Perot and Rutter? Now, the other night, that didn't really happen as much. I think Swansea were pushing so far up the pitch, though, that it was quite easy for Leeds United to really be able to hack them down a little bit and play that ball over the top. There wasn't as much onus on where's Perot playing, where's Rutter playing, but what we don't want is what we saw earlier on in the season, where you were seeing almost Rutter and Perot just bump into each other. We need a sort of a seamless attack, really. And I think Bamford always gave us that, being that the furthest point forward, and Rutter just acting in that number 10 position. You don't want them bumping into each other. It's pretty similar to what you'd see if Bellingham was in the 10 and Harry Kane was playing for England. I think they're both sort of like moving in around that number 10 spot, which might cause a few issues. So yeah, I mean, for me, we just need to see a little bit of manoeuvring and sensible sort of awareness when it comes to those points, to be honest with you. Let's get a couple more of your comments in. I fancy Joseph says, I fancy Joseph to come off the bench and against Leicester and make an impact. You know, the funny thing is, Jay, when you're looking at strikers, Joseph is a striker. He's a number 9. You know, is there ever a world? I don't think he scored a first team goal for Leeds United, but is there ever a world where you start a number 9 in Joseph when Bamford's out, bench Perot, and have those 3 in behind him? You know, isn't that interesting? It's some may say it's ridiculous. It probably is ridiculous, but you've got a number 9 there, an out and out number 9 who's going to be on the last line of the defence. And I'm not saying that should happen when you've got your pro who's just scored and he's worth 16 million quid. But it's interesting when you're looking at it strategically. You know, Leeds will have an out and out number 9, and then you'll have the 3 in behind. I do worry a little bit with Perot and Rutter that they're just getting each other's way a lot. That was the problem that we faced beforehand. So, yeah. Very, very, very interesting to see. Willie Johnson says, "Hi, Connor. Great to catch you live for once, watching from Belfast." Hello, Willie. Hope you're all good, mate. Hi, Connor. Hi, Wayne. Previous commentator is referring to 49ers sacking their defensive coordinator after just one season. Now they haven't won the Super Bowl. Right. Okay. Wayne, I'll have to go away and think about that, mate. A shout out to the comment previously as well. Apologies, mate. I'm not that well versed on how that could impact Leeds. Perot is better in the press than Joseph is better in the press than Perot. So you think Perot will play 9 or 10? Yeah, I think he'll play 9. I think Perot will play 9, but I just don't want it to influence. I think Rutter's playing the best of the season so far. I think his decision making is a lot better. I think he's looking at a different level to what it was even previously in the season. And I think there's just a real good synergy in that 3 and behind the striker. The problem is then if you get a striker who's joining that 4, do you know what I mean, guys? I think it's Swansea played such a high line. If you're getting teams against us who are playing a low block, what you don't want is Perot and Rutter to start getting in front of each other. You still need to have a striker, even if they are playing deep, playing on the last line. You know, that has to happen. Getting in between the centre-backs, getting in between the full-back and the centre-back, working the channels. And that's what I worry about just a little bit with Perot and Rutter in the same side. Joseph has that unpredictable edge about him. He does, James. And you know, I do wonder, you know, if he'd scored a couple of goals this season, you do wonder whether or not he'd be in Daniel Farke's thought process. So what else do we learn from the press conference? Well, Sam Byram's out again. Looks like it's his hamstring, which I know he's had problems with at Norwich. He's had problems with at Forest and West Ham. Yeah, Sam's out for this one. Yeah, it is what it is, isn't it? We're just sort of like at that moment in time now where we're just hoping Junior Firpo doesn't get injured. But worst case scenario, you have got Connor Roberts, who's not played left back that much in his career, but you have got Connor Roberts who would be available to sort of have that rotation option there for Leeds United. It's not what we all want, I know that, but ultimately we do have that as an option. It's not like Leeds will be going completely off kilter when it comes to, you know, if they're to lose that individual in there, obviously. But everything else, everybody's hunky-dory. So that moves me on to the Summerville decision, and you guys can see it in the comment, in the title, I should say. Now, there's been a lot of talk recently, and I didn't want to comment on it too much because there's no, you know, why are we discussing it? What's the point, really? But there's been a lot of chat when it comes to Crysencio Summerville and the next move that Leeds are going to make with him. Now, for me, I know his contract runs till 2026, but we've been speaking a lot about Willie Gnonto getting handed a contract. There is still, according to a few sources, you know, having this sort of mindset that there are a lot of clubs in for Willie Gnonto still, a lot of clubs monitoring his progress still, and I'm going to touch on Summerville in just a little bit. But the reason behind that is, you know, this interest doesn't quell, and he's come back into the side and he's been absolutely brilliant, and you can't take him out. He's technically too good. You cannot take him out, and I'm really happy he's back in the side because I know a lot of people love Dan James. I think Dan James has developed. He got Player of the Bloody Month for January. Unbelievable. And he's proven me wrong and many others wrong. But he's not on the same technical ability level as Willian Gnonto. You know, Willian Gnonto is the Italian poster boy when it comes to the national side. He will be playing regularly for them and probably the go-to outlet. Alongside that, I think we're going to get, you know, there's going to be multiple questions asked about Willian Gnonto. Plus, right now, his form, when he's come back in, has been excellent. It's been nothing short of excellent. So I think that that's just going to be heightened. And can Leeds tie him down to a new deal? You know, what do we know about a new deal? A new deal would essentially just be Leeds getting better value for him if he is to move on, if Leeds are to remain in the Championship. Even if we get to the Premier League, is there going to be multiple clubs looking at him? Maybe in the January of you know, we have the first 2 or 3 months in the Prem, and then in January, teams come in for him, and then we can get a higher value on him. Obviously, Summerville's contract has been a little bit longer from whence it started, 2026. But now it's interesting when it comes to motivation. Really interesting when it comes to motivation. If a new contract is put on the table, there's one of two ways it can go. We've seen Marcus Rashford, hate talking about him, but Marcus Rashford very, very recently been handed a contract, a big booster, bumper contract, and suddenly his performance is tailed off. We see it all the time in football. But there's been a lot of discussion right now about Cree being offered a new deal. Now, why I'd be really excited about this is because I think this kid's a mentality monster. I think he's going to go to the next level. I think he's the best player in the Championship, alongside Rutter. Maybe Rutter just a little bit below when it comes to Cree's just unbelievable impact, his dynamism, how many goals he's scored, his XG, just everything. He's just brilliant. And, you know, I love Rutter, but I think obviously some of us just a little bit more consistent. And I think Leeds tying him down to a new deal would give him that elevated level of motivation as well to get that club promoted. And I know there's going to be a lot of people saying, look, Connor, he's still going to leave, he's still going to leave, he's still going to leave. But Gnonto's still going to leave, still going to leave, still going to leave. But as I said, Leeds will get the utmost value. And if Leeds are to sit down with Chris Summerville, Leeds are to sit down with Willian Gnonto, what a boost that would be to the rest of the team. I honestly believe if we're to get these guys signed down to a new deal, it would be like a new signing. It really would. And I think it give the rest of the squad a little bit of motivation. And it's also going to give the rest of the squad a little bit of an understanding that Leeds means serious business here. Because let's be brutally honest with each other. Willian Gnonto is definitely going to be playing for, in my opinion, a top 8, top 10 club in the Premier League. If he was to go to the La Liga, he'd be playing top 4, in my opinion. Crysencio Summerville could fit in any squad, in my opinion, in the Premier League. So we're talking about 2 elite level ballers, and we're talking about 2 players, potential wise, by the way, and we're talking about 2 players who have already done it in the Premier League, and in my opinion, proved it in the Premier League and have still got levels to go. So if you're able to get those guys signed down to a new contract, I just think the level, and I've put in the thumbnail, game changer. I do wonder if it will take Leeds to another level, because let's be brutally honest with it, everyone. We have levels to go still with this side. That first half against Swansea, that was probably Leeds nearly in top gear, but we've not shown those levels of performances week in, week out, which we can do. And I just wonder if when it comes to mentality, when it comes to management of a player or management of players from Leeds United, I wonder if that's the next step that could really see Leeds United get to that even next level where we're at right now. Ty says, does Gelhardt get a mention? Probably not as a number 9, mate. I wouldn't say so, personally. Michael Watson says, afternoon, mate. Just finished work for the week and I'm finally catching a live stream. Think it'll be a 3-1 win for Leeds tomorrow. Shout out to you, Michael. Hopefully you're right, buddy. Put large buyout clauses in any new contract. Stop the Wolves circling. Exactly, Andy. And I think you spot on, mate. You spot on. There's money that Leeds will get in terms of like capital, obviously, for these players. But the beautiful thing is Leeds are going to get, I think, with the characters that we have at the minute, bearing in mind the setbacks that Willian Gnonto's had this season, how he's come back into the fold. Summerville literally saying at the start of the season, there can be interest in me, but I'm not going. We all forget that. We all talk about Willian Gnonto, we all talk about Rutter and all this sort of stuff. Summerville literally came out and said, I'm not leaving Leeds. I'm not leaving Leeds. I love it here. I want to prove in the Championship that I'm worth it. Leeds have given me a chance. That is a really, really elite mentality. And that's a brilliant mentality as well when it comes to loyalty to the club. He could have jumped. Of course he could. He had offers to jump. Crystal Palace, Burnley, he had offers in the summer to jump. We know Willie Gnonto would have jumped, but at the end of the day, in a strange sort of way, his circle has been even more difficult because he's had to come full circle and impress the Leeds United fans, impress Daniel Farke, impress the board, and prove to everybody, and he's still proving to everybody that he's part of this side. And I think he's done that, celebrating all the time, even when he's got 2 minutes of gameplay, not throwing his dummies out the pram and coming back in and being absolutely excellent. And the motivation around the side at the minute is unbelievable. But I do wonder if these two are to be announced new contracts in the next 4 to 6 weeks, and they are working on Gnonto. Summerville has got to be one they've been sitting down with. They've got to have been sitting down with him as well. Some reports are suggesting that they are doing. Unbelievable. Lucas, thank you so much, Lucas. Another member to the channel. We're etching on to about 200 members, I think, which is unbelievable to say. We've only started this membership thing a month 5 weeks ago. So thank you so much for that. We are going to be going over to the Patreon after this as well, doing a pod with Gabe and doing a podcast with my old man in person as well. Next season, Mr. Anthrop says crew will be something else. Neutrals are talking about him. Chelsea, Liverpool, West Ham fans, they are, mate, and that's it as well. I know it sounds ridiculous, but that public notoriety that he's getting now, I personally have seen that with a lot of Chelsea fans as well, looking at him, Madueke saying he's better than him and all this sort of stuff. And you do look at it, and with a lot of wingers in the Premier League and how dynamic they are and how direct they are as well, he can come in off the left, he can come in off the right. There are a lot of teams right now who would absolutely murder for Crysencio Summerville. And we are not just talking about the teams who we expect, with no disrespect, but your Palaces, if they're to lose Elise, your lower sort of Premier League clubs. We're talking about elite clubs here, elite clubs who have these profiles missing, not consistently playing and missing. You could look at Chelsea, you could even look at Liverpool with certain personnel leaving the club. Dominic, thank you so much for your donation, mate. Really, really appreciate that. We definitely need to get promoted in order to hold on to people like Cree, Gnonto, Rutter, Rodon, and also Ethan and Archie and his Kirk brother Harry. Yeah, you're right, and this is always the danger, I think, with staying in the Championship another season. Those are our ace cards, all of them. They're elite players. They are players who can play top level football. And this is why we have a cheat card right now, a cheat code, I should say, Dominic. And let's be honest. There's an argument. We've got the best squad in the division. Next season, we wouldn't have the best squad in the division if those were to move on. We'd still get collateral. We'll still get money for Summerville. We'll still get money for Rutter. But players also have to be convinced that they want to come to Leeds United. These are all things that and I know money talks and all this sort of stuff, but Leeds would have to attract some big players to the Championship as well, because it feels now that you need Premier League players in the Championship to get you elevated to that next level, because the standard of the Championship is so high. I always say this, but there's never been a standard like this. It's just ridiculous. We've won what, 9 games? 10 in 12. We're 7 wins on the bounce, and we're still third. And I know that sounds very sort of arrogant, but we shouldn't be third. We should be in the top 2. We should be winning the league. Last season, if Burnley are going on a run of 7 wins on the bounce, which they didn't do, by the way, if Burnley are going on a run of 7 wins, without a loss or a draw or anything like that, and they're still outside the top 2, it just wouldn't have happened. It wouldn't have happened. They'd have been sailing away, Yeah, we are second. Sorry, I meant top, Jason. Yeah, obviously after tonight, I'm basically on the pretense right now, Jason, that Southampton are going to be. This is what I think. I think Southampton are going to beat West Brom tonight, so that's why I keep saying outside the top 2, and we're sort of on the precipice, aren't we? We're not fully there yet. It still doesn't feel like we're authentically second, if that makes sense. Summerville reminds me a lot of Sterling. I think they will have similar careers. Yeah, 100%, mate. I agree with you. Yeah, Mr. Anthrop, I saw that free kick one. Yeah, Summerville. Yeah, I think I've just read that one out. Start their career rise. Yeah, they do. They move similar as well. No, it's all right, Jace. Yeah, I probably didn't make that clear. I wonder how Gray goes against Chelsea if he plays well. The Wolves will come even more. This is it, and it's not just Gray. That's it. You play these top clubs in competitions that Leeds Chelsea game is going to be highlighted as well. They're going to do packages on it. We all know that it's going to be like the biggest thing since whatever, because it's the rivalry, all this sort of stuff. How you, Gale? the rivalry, all this sort of stuff, and we know what's coming. We know there's going to be a big like sort of package from the TV stations. It's going to hark back to the 70s when Leeds played Chelsea in the dirtiest final that's ever been played, and they're going to sort of ramp up this rivalry. So basically, there's going to be a lot of attention on it. Going to be a lot of attention on it in the FA Cup. It's probably the biggest game of the round. Chelsea sort of hit a little bit of form now, haven't they? Leeds have been on form for a while, so wait and see. But it's going to be a good test because I think Chelsea will put out a fully strength side. I honestly do. I think we're going to see a full-bodied team from Chelsea, to be quite honest with you. But the game is tomorrow. That the Plymouth game's massive. He was speaking about the fans and how brilliant they are, and obviously we all know that when it comes to Leeds United. But the beauty of it as well is we've got a game tomorrow, which in normal time, we've struggled with a little bit. It's not been easy for Leeds, that game. It really hasn't. I think we all know that. So we need to come into it tomorrow with a level head. We need to come into it tomorrow. Obviously, we're going to have our best players on the pitch tomorrow. But we brought the best players on in extra time against Plymouth. We all know that. And then we won the game 4-1. But when we played Plymouth previously, and we've struggled a little bit, it's been a goal here and a goal there, hasn't it? 2-1, 1-1. We've had our best players on the pitch there, so it's not going to be an easy game. I think we all know it's not going to be an easy game, and it's one that Leeds have really, really got to take seriously because, as I keep saying, everybody, especially if Southampton are to win tonight, Ipswich have got, if you guys haven't checked, Ipswich, in my opinion, have the easiest running, with utmost respect to every single other team. They've got a good run in Ipswich, so they're going to be picking up points. I thought they might struggle at Millwall. Millwall rolled over and had the bellies tickled, got absolutely smashed up. I think it's the first time Ipswich haven't conceded a goal in about 10 games. So, listen, Ipswich aren't out of it either. So Leeds have to just keep winning. And I know it sounds daft, but all the good work that happened midweek, all the adulation that happened when it came to giving this squad so many plaudits, they can't drop the level because it's the best championship there has ever been, and we cannot drop our level. Think about how well we're doing. Ipswich are 12 points ahead of us. This is the standard, the caliber of what we're up against at the minute. So, yeah, Leeds have to keep those levels high, and if they don't keep those levels high, there's going to be teams chomping at the bit, ready to go above us. We look at Southampton tonight, we look at Ipswich, but we've got to keep positive. And I think we've got a real. It's in our hands now. Everything is in our hands for the first time. It is all in our hands. Why is it all in our hands? Because we go Southampton come to Leeds on the last day of the season. It is all in our hands. If we win every single game now, we go up. We go up. If we beat Leicester, we beat Watford, who I think is a bit of a tricky away game, beat Middlesbrough, beat Sunderland, beat Southampton, we go up. So that's why destiny is in our hands at the moment. We've got a better goal difference to Southampton, Ipswich, which is massive, everybody. Massive. So it's a huge game for Leeds tomorrow. They cannot drop that standard. We've got to go there, score early. Plymouth are decent at home. They are decent at home. I think even Farker mentioned the last time they'd lost at home was in the championship was November, I think it was. So it's not going to be an easy task. Still think this is the best championship ever. It is, mate. To show me one other championship season where you've got 4 teams in the running for a top 2 with the points that they have right now. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. A lot of people saying that Joseph can lead the line. He is a number 9. Hope Ethan can put on a show against Chelsea. What have I missed, Connor? Paul, a little bit of a recap, mate. Bamford's out. Byram's out. Summerville contract and Gnonto contract is being discussed, which is going to be interesting to see. I think the Saints will drop points tonight, Connor. Well, Gail, to be honest, it's the toughest game that they could have. The toughest game that they could have outside the obvious, us and Leicester. West Brom are 3rd. They've just had a takeover announcement, which will leave the whole Black Country. Aside from that Wolverhampton side, that'll leave the whole Black Country in absolute, elation again. It'll leave them so happy because listen, West Brom have been through a little bit of turmoil, haven't they, off the pitch? And listen, this is big news for them. Corbrand's going to be back next season. So yeah, listen, it's a big one. It's a big one tonight, but they are the 3rd in the division when it comes to home form. I think it's going to be a tight game tonight, and I think it's going to be a goal either way. But we need them. If they're we're looking at a scenario here where if Southampton, this is how tight it is. If Southampton lose tonight or drop points tonight and Ipswich win, Ipswich then go above Southampton. It's mental. It's absolutely mental. You know, if both of them win and Leeds don't pick up maximum points, Leeds then go down to fourth. This is not. It's how crazy it is. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a swing. It's just a swing consistently. So we can't get too ahead of ourselves. I know that, but you know, we've got to be confident. We've got to be assured that this is going to be a little bit of a nice little win or a point even for West Brom tonight. Let's hope. We've got to have everything crossed, everyone. Got to have everything crossed. Now, listen, you want a bit of bonus content? We're going to be heading on over to the Patreon now for 2 separate podcasts. Make sure you do that. Before you leave, everybody slap a like on the video. I really appreciate all your consistent support. Become a YouTube member if you fancy it. Shout out to Lucas Milburn, who's become the recent member. Shout out to Steve as well, who became a Patreon member yesterday. Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'll see you on the other side. As I said, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you head on over to the Patreon if you want some bonus content. See you in a bit. Cheers.